starring Johnny Carson. This is Ed McMahon along with Doc Severinsen and the NBC Orchestra inviting you to join Johnny and his guests, Peter Strauss, Buddy Rich, and Skirt for Men advocate David Hall. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
Tell me the truth. Look, tell me the truth now. Are you applauding me or the fact that Sophia Loren is out of the slammer? Today you would applaud anybody who's not running for public office, right? Elections are about over. Oh, we'll talk about your vacation later. Hi, cutie. This is the monologue. Also known as Star Trip, The Wrath of Carson. Have you read about Star Trek II? Yeah. Star Trek II, called The Wrath of Khan, made $14 million in its first 3 days. I guess the biggest grosser since Superman 2, or even bigger. Above that, Ricardo Montalban, plays the villain Khan, has the only spaceship with rich Corinthian leather. Weird. It's hard to imagine the biggest hit movie of the summer is based on a television series. Tell you, when you're on a roll, you're on a roll. But there's a new movie coming out next week called Super Train, The Wrath of Silverman. Pick up a couple of bucks or something. Before I go on, I have an election update. I know a lot of you are following the local elections. Carl Foley is the projected winner for sewer inspector of Buena Park. We'll break away later for the loser's concession speech, because I know you want it. Are there primaries in a lot of cities around the country? Or just June 8th, of course, is normally primary election day. And California, a strange state. We have quite a mixture of people out in Southern California. They all seem to end up here sooner or later. We had some weird propositions on the ballot this year. Have you heard Proposition 12G? Didn't think so. That allows crematoriums, if it's passed, to spread ashes on offshore oil spills. I'm telling you, they're weird. And there was a new proposed law, 13Q, that, if passed, would allow ladies of the evening on the Sunset Boulevard to also sell hot dogs. Isn't it nice to enjoy your own work? We were off last week. We'll talk about your vacation later. You know where I went? I went to Hawaii. Oh. That is a beautiful state. I want to tell you. Are you from Hawaii? Whereabouts? Honolulu. I went to the island of Maui. Well, that is a beautiful island. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But anyway, Hawaii, I found out, has some elections down there. They have an interesting proposition on the ballot. And that is Proposition 48R, I think. And that's whether to repair the potholes in Jack Lord's hair. No, out here in California, we have a lot of different politicians. Now, here in the Valley, we have a strict law and order candidate, Nuke Magian. No, not to be confused with anybody else. This is Nuke Magian. Nuke believes that it's... He believes it's every American's constitutional right to keep an atomic warhead in the night table. And Nuke, not to be confused with the other one, is a very macho conservative candidate. He caused a lot of friction in the gay community when he proposed his buy a quiche, go to prison law. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I've been off for a while. I didn't realize how good this was. But Nuke also has a law aimed at the teenage boys of Orange County. It requires them to register their hands. It is a weird law. Very conservative. But I'll tell you, even Election Day in California is laid back. To ensure a big voter turnout this year, you know what they did? They installed the voting booths in hot tub clubs. Only in Southern California. Well, let's go to the rest of the news and see if Vice President Bush is called the Maytag repairman. As you probably know, the president is out of the country. I guess he's in England now. And he's going to a NATO conference, I guess, before he comes home. And Vice President Bush is in charge. Notice the difference? Poor Vice President. He's been sitting in the Oval Office for 10 days, and the only call he got was from Leonard Nimoy in search of Walter Mondale. I guess our president's doing quite well overseas. That's a grueling trip. As a matter of fact, as you know, the president and the First Lady, Nancy Reagan, had an audience with the Pope in the Vatican. And according to the papers, while the Pope was speaking, it was quite warm, and the president had been on this killing schedule, and apparently while the Pope is talking, the president almost dozed off and then kind of woke up quickly and almost fell asleep, and the Pope later told him, says, "It's all right, I slept through all your pictures." Pope told Nancy that he's serving in the Vatican for life. And Nancy said, "Interesting concept, isn't it, Ronnie?" No, but the president was very humble. He invited the Pope to visit his Santa Barbara ranch in Clear Brush. Did you know Ronald Reagan is the first American president ever to stay over at Windsor Castle? I understand the Reagans were very impressed with the Windsor Castle. Matter of fact, to reciprocate, they invited the Queen to stay at Elvis's house when they come over here. I understand that Nancy asked the Queen if she could introduce her to Benny Hill's dress designer. Trying to work that out. What? Anyway, tonight, we are in a great mood tonight. We have a great show. We have a fine actor, Mr. Peter Strauss, with us tonight. The great drummer, Buddy Rich, is here. Mr. Humble. And a gentleman you will meet in a moment. And a gentleman you will meet in a moment who seriously has a new idea he would like to offer the men of America. He believes that men should wear skirts. Absolutely. His name is David Hall, and you will meet Mr. Hall in just a moment. So stay where you are, and we'll be right back. Thank you. Tonight we welcome Hydro Curve 2, soft contact lenses from Revlon Vision Care. We'll be right back.
With ordinary contact lenses or glasses, you wake to a fuzzy world. Now, with Hydro Curve 2 lenses, wake to a crystal clear world. It's the first soft contact lens you may wear sleeping, wear comfortably, safely, continuously, up to 2 weeks. Hydro Curve 2, the only extended wear lens for virtually every vision problem. So don't wake to fuzzy. Wake to crystal clear. Ask your eye care professional about Hydro Curve 2, the continuous wear contact lens.
Nestle Crunch, the blend of milk chocolate and crispy crunchies that's music to your mouth.
Creamy milk chocolate is the melody. Crispy crunchies are the harmony. The two together are music to lunch. Let's hum a few bars of Nestle Crunch.
turn on your tiger? Turn on the juice. Turn on the juice with new Chef's Blend. Because now Chef's Blend dry cat food gets its taste from real beef, turkey, liver, and chicken juices. And real meat taste is what turns on a cat. How do you turn on your Siamese? Turn on your calico? Turn on the juice. 100% nutritionally complete new Chef's Blend. Gets its taste from real meat juices. Turn on the juice with new Chef's Blend.
Next on Entertainment Tonight, an exclusive on the spectacular Grease 2. Lorna Luft talks about her role as one of the film's Pink Ladies.
She tries to emulate Marilyn Monroe.
You are not going to go out there like that.
Then we head for Nashville, where a new paradise is being built for country and western fans called Twitty City.
122 acres.
Its founder, Conway Twitty. Next on Entertainment Tonight.
Okay, we got a first-rate audience here tonight.
Great house.
Now, before we start... tonight, we've been off a week. I have to start with an apology tonight. And I mean this sincerely. Remember a couple of weeks ago, locally out here, I think Channel 13 had a 3D movie. And they sold 3D glasses, I guess. It was Channel 9, you're right.
Yeah.
And they sold, I think, through 7-Eleven stores, the 3D glasses to see the movie. They sold a couple of million pair.
And a lovely hostess.
And lovely hostess who's going to be with us tomorrow night, incidentally, on the show. Elvira will be with us. She hosted it. Anyway, Doc was wearing one of his rather loud outfits, and somebody had given me a pair of 3D glasses, which I had in my pocket. And I took them out, and I was looking at Doc's outfit in the 3D glasses. And I started to talk about the movie, mentioning that over 2 million pair of these glasses. Now, first of all, I was wrong there. Those were not the glasses sold at 7-Eleven.
Oh, they weren't?
No, those were 3D glasses designed by the gentleman I'm going to mention in a moment to view these 3D posters.
Right.
Anyway, I was talking about, and you said to me, you were a big help that night. You said, why don't you read what's on the glasses, right? And I
Written
said...
inside, because I'd gotten a pair in the afternoon and read that.
And I said, well, it just says 3D glasses. And you said...
No, it tells you about the man who designed them.
It says the glasses are designed by Jack Kirby, king of the comics. Now, if you say to a comedian or an entertainer, the king of the comics, what's the first thing you think of?
Buddy Hackett.
Yeah, the comics. Comedians, guys who do jokes for a living. And the audience kind of laughed because we had not heard of Jack Kirby, king of comics. Well, it shows you that we don't know as much as we sometimes think. Mr. Kirby is the king of the comics because he was one of he created or co-created such classic comic book characters. That's the Hulk, Captain America, Spider-Man, Thor, and many, many others. As a matter of fact, the main reference book on comic book history is dedicated to Jack Kirby. It says, without whom there would not have been any comics to write a history about. So when we said, I turned around and I had said laughingly, they made a lot of money on the glasses. I says, rather than the king of the comics, Jack Kirby is the king of the con men.
Clearly not a nice thing to say. I'm glad I didn't say that.
Yes. You got me to where I said it. Anyway, having not met Mr. Kirby, who has a fine reputation as a comic book illustrator and a creator, we are very sorry. We certainly did not mean it maliciously.
We both apologize.
We did not know them. I did not know the name of the man.
No.
And we thought it was some comic who was picking up a couple of bucks making 3D glasses. And this letter came from Mark, E-V-A-N-I-E-R, Evanier, I suppose, or Evanier. And he apparently is a comic book buff, and everybody who saw the show realized what we had said. So, Mr. Kirby, if you're watching, we're very sorry. We certainly didn't mean to cause you any embarrassment or to make fun of you. We had the wrong person. Well, there was no other Jack Kirby, right?
No, not in the past. Years ago, there was a Jack Kirby. It was a minor comic in the Catskills.
Was that the one we were talking about?
That was the one we were thinking about, yeah.
Anyway, this man has really done... He was a married... This last weekend was honored at the American Booksellers Convention in Anaheim here in California. And, of course, a lot of people were coming up to him and telling him of our
moment of jest.
Our moment of jest on the air. So, again, we're very sorry, Jack.
Yes, apologize.
Certainly. Okay, now, what else do we have here? I talked about being on... Have you ever been to Maui?
No. I've been to Hawaii. I've been to Hawaii, yeah.
There's Oahu, Lanai, Molokai. I'm leaving some of them out. What's the other one? The lady... Kona, Hilo, the main island of Hawaii. But Maui is beautiful. It is gorgeous. We stayed at a place called the Kapalua, which is a resort. Skin diving, snorkeling every day. Saw a moray eel sticking out of the rocks. My wife, Joanna, is not exactly Jacques Cousteau when it comes to snorkeling. She likes it, but she doesn't like things that move in the water.
Right. And oftentimes there are little things.
There are a lot of things moving in the water, a lot of fish and a lot of strange things floating around, but she's getting better. So I'm going along the rocks, you know, and I see this moray eel sticking out about 1.5 feet. And they are a rather strange-looking creature, but if you leave them alone, they will leave you alone.
Unless they're upset.
Yeah, well, I was not about to go down and upset him at all. And I said, why don't you come over and look at this moray eel? She got dressed and went back to the hotel. She wasn't even in the water. But it was a lot of fun. It's a beautiful place down there.
You look good.
Now, you did not spend the
I had a strange vacation. Last Monday, Memorial Day, I checked into the hospital. I'd gone in for my routine physical and my stress test, as I do every year.
Right.
And they discovered that I had a funny thing called a hernia. And
why do people always laugh at that?
It is no laughing matter, Fred, believe me.
Because it's not as glamorous, I guess, as some other operation.
This is not glamorous at all, no. Anyway, on Tuesday morning, a lot of strange men in green uniforms and things on their face and little funny green hats came and took me away, and people I didn't even know started hurting me.
Doing things to your body.
Cutting into portions of the body that no one has ever seen.
Oh, well.
Well, a few people, yeah. that crazy weekend in Cleveland.
Of course.
But,
which probably gave you the hernia. Yeah.
So anyway, I had no discomfort, no pain. It proves one thing, and I must stress this.
Yes.
Take that annual physical, because I knew nothing about it. And I'd been down on the Caribbean islands for 10 days. Imagine if I had an attack down there.
But I'd have some guy come out with horns and a gourd.
A witch doctor trying to fix me, yeah.
No,
dancing
look,
around. No.
Wait a minute.
No letters from witch
I don't want to get letters from the Caribbean island. I meant that as no offense to the practical, good-working witch doctors that there are. I'm only talking about the ones who aren't registered with the Caribbean Witch Doctors Association, the CWA, well known in that area.
Anyway, the operation was successful. I'm on the mend. As you know, it is very painful, and it hurts, especially when I laugh.
Well, he says
so don't make me laugh.
He comes from the office tonight, and he says, don't do anything funny tonight.
When you hit me with Nukmasia,
I'm sorry about that. How about by a quiche, go to prison? I'm sorry. Would you rather, really, seriously, I know that you're not feeling well.
Right.
And I know you're on a Pergadan.
Yes, your favorite medicine.
It's a... No, we're not... No, that's when you're hurt. That's when you should take it. And would you really like to go home?
Well, I'd like to see the guy with the skirts, and then I'll go.
Okay.
It might be a new style for it.
Maybe you go home together. No. Now, wait, I want to apologize to David Hall before he comes out.
And all the skirts.
And all the men who wear skirts.
Yes.
I meant nothing by that at all. God, we're doing nothing but apologizing tonight. What?
We have something to hold up.
I'm going to do that, Fred. Like I said, I see it there. It says hold-up spotlighter. Can I see your scar? I imagine this conveniently comes off of this
yes.
little...
the holder, yeah.
There it is. That hangs on the wall. And
this charges it when you're not using it.
When you're not using it, that's fine. We'd like to welcome them.
It slips under that little lip first.
Rubik's spotlighter. Very simple, just like that. We'd like to welcome a new sponsor and apologize to them also. This is the Black & Decker spotlighter. It's always bright and easy to use. You just take it out and you turn it on.
Come on, the game's gonna start. All good things take time, huh?
Ever notice how when you really need a flashlight, you can never find one?
What happened to the light? Nobody move. I'll get a flashlight.
Or when you do find one,
Here it is.
it almost never works. So Black & Decker invented the Spotlighter, the rechargeable light. The Spotlighter stores in its recharger, so it's always bright, always easy to find, always fully charged. The Spotlighter from Black & Decker. Because life is filled with a variety of mishaps, spills, miscalculations, and assorted minor disasters, Black & Decker invented the cordless dustbuster.
It cleans up little messes. 1, 2, 3. The handy dustbuster. Get one and see. Yes, it cleans up little messes. 1, 2, 3. Black & Decker's dustbuster. Get one and see.
Black & Decker's cordless dustbuster vac. Get one and see.
Wherever business takes you, Diners Club can help. At airlines, car rentals, and at the finest hotels in the world. When important business plans are changed, then it's imperative for you to be there. It's nice to know that Diners Club from Citicorp is accepted by practically all other forms of transportation.
Bob, how was your trip? It was a slow start, but a great finish.
Diners Club from Citicorp. You can drop our name where it counts.
Perfectly cut diamonds are beautiful no matter where they're from. A fine hand-rolled cigar tastes just as good without the label. And the same holds true for designer clothing. At the Men's Warehouse, we offer designer clothing at a fraction of the regular price by removing the designer label and putting in our own. Come into the Men's Warehouse for real savings on designer clothing. Get the designer look and fit without the high price. At the Men's Warehouse, we've got fashion savings all sewn up.
Thank you, Doc. Okay, we have Buddy Rich, Peter Strauss with us. I mentioned this gentleman earlier. His name is David Hall. He is a computer engineer from Palo Alto, California, and he has some unusual ideas on how he thinks men should dress. For the past 12 years, he has been wearing skirts. And he probably hears this all the time. And he feels it's a very sensible method of dress. And we asked him here, he's even designed a line of skirts especially for men. Would you welcome David Hall? David? You see?
Whistles already, huh?
David, I suppose you are used to this already and this kind of tittering and giggling when...
Well, you see, you can flirt in a skirt.
Yeah.
Whereas you can die in a tie. You know, sometimes it's so tight.
Yeah. Now, you're dead serious about what you're saying. This is not a gimmick or a stunt or anything. You've been doing this for, what, 12 years?
No, it's certainly not a gimmick or a stunt, and we have to realize that in many countries, men do dress in... After all, didn't you see a lava in Maui?
Yes.
You know that sarong type wrap? In India, they call it a lungi, and in Indonesia, they call it a sarong.
Right, and then a lot of men wear caftans, and in Roman days, they wore togas. Everybody
Kilts,
dressed.
after all. You can be strong in a sarong.
You have a little...
I worked a few lines, you know.
Seems to go along with this. Now, why do you think it's a more sensible way to dress? There must be a...
Well, it's certainly not the only way to dress, but it is an option. It's an alternative.
Right.
And it's very cool in the summer, of course. And, you know, you can choose your underwear accordingly. And if it's cold, you can wear several layers.
Right.
And it's just generally an alternative. You know, we're all born naked.
True.
We all have 2 legs. And there are only 2 ways to wrap cloth around 2 legs. Either pants or skirts. It's like a binary system, just like computing. We have ones and zeros in the computer.
Right.
In clothing, we can only choose pants or skirts. And men are missing half the options by restricting themselves to pants only.
Why do you think that is?
I think there's a whole stigma about superiority and inferiority. You know, what we're going through socially is this thing about equal rights.
Right.
And the Equal Rights Amendment seems to be dying.
Right.
I think it's... something to do with that.
Do you think men feel less, I hate that word macho.
Yeah, but you're right.
Less more threatened if they wear a...
Yes, it seems to be that way, that we generally consider that women are inferior, and actually, it seems to me often the other way around. You know, women live 10 years longer.
Well, actually, Montague wrote a book called The Natural Superiority of Women. And
right.
He said in almost every case, emotionally, even in physically... You know, so forth.
So, you know, being a research engineer and into computers, I thought about this a long time and felt that maybe as an experimenter, I should try this out, and it turned out
Now,
to
you
be very
mentioned a
comfortable.
tie earlier. You know, and you're right, if you think about it. I mean, say 500 years from now, maybe 50 years from now, they will have pictures of people, and if you think about it, what do we have? We're wearing a shirt with a piece of cloth tied around the neck, tied in a knot.
It's plainly...
They're not very comfortable most of the time, and in warm weather, ties are not comfortable. And you envy women when you go to a dinner party at night and they're wearing a little strapless thing, and the guy's got a jacket and a coat on, and
Precisely.
they say, ties needed, and you say, it's a piece of cloth around the neck.
Well, you know, it is a free country, and this is my point, really, that you can choose to dress in a skirt, and there's
It takes a certain amount of courage, though. Now, really.
Well, I think intelligence.
It does. No?
Yes, I think intelligence is the word. At least that's what I would like to think.
All right, now you were.
But I'm courageous too.
Yeah.
I guess.
When did you? To what point did you say, "Hey, I'm going to wear skirts"?
Well, I went to India in 1970 to a conference, and it was very warm.
Right.
And I looked around to see what the men were wearing, and they were wearing this lungi, very simple garment, just 2 yards of cloth wrapped around the middle. So I tried it, and you know, one thing led to the other. When I came home, there was my wife's wardrobe of clothing hanging right next to mine, where we dressed together.
Right.
And she had all these interesting patterns and colors and things. And you know, let's face it, men are the peacocks, or should be the peacocks.
They are generally in the animal kingdom.
In the animal kingdom, they are.
Right.
And in our society, I think we've made a mistake somewhere along the line. And I don't quite know how it happened, but it's time we had a clothing revolution and became...
You look very comfortable.
I am, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
We're going to come back and talk about this some more, so stay where you are. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Help your cat. Help your cat. Help your cat to thrive.
Thrive, the only leading dry cat food with delicious ingredients from all 4 basic food groups. The meat fish group for the protein your cat needs. Vegetables for digestion. Grains for energy. Dairy for teeth and bones. Your cat will love Thrive's taste. Plus, Thrive has all the protein and nutrition to help keep him healthy.
These are 4 food groups every day. Help your cat to thrive.
At Simmons, it's our 112th anniversary, so we're sending you our best. Like a special anniversary edition Beauty Rest mattress, featuring our exclusive Beauty Rest coils, wrapped individually to give you firm, comfortable support. You'll also find our beautiful anniversary hide-a-bed sofas and Maxipedic mattresses. Special anniversary values are at your Simmons authorized dealer today. There's just no rest like a Beauty Rest by Simmons.
Hi, I'm Carlo Rossi.
And I'm his wife, Maria.
The timing of the grape harvest is one of the most important decisions made each year. So the grapes are constantly tested and picked only when they reach the perfect flavor for Carlo Rossi wines.
That's why our Vin Rosé has such a pleasant, soft taste. It's perfect any time. I like talking about Carlo Rossi Vin Rosé.
But I'd rather drink it.
Bell Phone Center is your all-occasion gift center, where you'll find a gift that won't blend in with all the others. Like the new Rendezvous, a telephone for the newlyweds to have and to hold from this day forward. And now when you give a Design Line telephone, we'll give you a gift too, this all-occasion gift wrap box. It's the kind of quality you'd expect from genuine Bell. This spring, they get the gift, but you take the wrap at your Bell Phone Center.
Wednesday, Real People shows you how to beat the traffic. And when Natalie loses the lead in the play to Tootie, she plots revenge. Facts of life. Then the school computer fires Diana.
Don't forget to write.
Teachers only. And a disturbed boy becomes a killer's next target on Quincy. It all happens Wednesday on NBC.
The name. The one that signifies achievement, measures up to your sense of excellence, symbolizes a tradition of winning, the name that equals...
Available at Macy's.
You said to yourself. Izod Lacoste.
When your vacation's at an end and the family's feeling sad.
They're here!
If your vacation pictures are home, then things aren't all that bad.
Use Kodak mailers on your vacation, and your pictures can be home when you are, with quality and color by Kodak. So take along Kodak mailers. Ask for them where you buy Kodak film.
Your pictures are home when you are, and your vacation lasts all year long.
Come back to Jamaica.
Come, climb a cool mountain.
What's old is what's new.
Come, let your spirit soar.
We want you to join us.
Come share our happiness.
We made it for you.
Come to a place that could make your body feel cool and your spirit feel warm. Come, make it Jamaica again and again.
Make it Jamaica, Jamaica again.
We're back. We have Peter Strauss, Buddy Rich with us in a few moments. This is David Hall, if you just joined us. Let me ask you, what kind of reaction do you get? How many times have people called you derogatory names and questioned your sex and made all of the comments that would normally come to mind when you see a man wearing a skirt, especially in our culture?
I think the answer is surprisingly few. This is what most men fear, that they wouldn't be able to do it, or that society is very prejudiced about it.
Yeah.
Now, I must say, when I go, walking down the street or whatever, go into a store, people look a second time.
Yeah.
But this is a free country. Thank goodness it is. And, I'm very grateful and thankful for that.
Now, did you design this little number yourself?
Yeah, of course, it's very simple. Just a simple wrap.
Just a basic corduroy?
Wrap with a tie.
Right.
And you wrap it around and...
Now, do you
really,
normally wear undergarments, depending on the weather?
Depending on the weather. Yes,
Yeah.
Today I am.
You feel less constrained? Freer?
Definitely. When you sit down, if you look at a pair of pants and you think of anatomy, I mean, let's get down to details a little bit.
Yeah.
The pants are designed in a very symmetrical way, and you look at the crotch, and there's no space there, really, typically, for a man. Now, let's face it.
There's no space. I know what you're saying, yes.
We men have this extra appendage, which women don't have, and it's a considerable consideration, and you have to decide which side to hit after all.
But there's nothing... see, people giggle as silly. If a man goes to a tailor to have a suit made, they will ask you.
Right.
Do you dress?
How you dress?
Do you dress
to the left or the right?
Most men come to the left. And this is partly because anatomically, the left is lower. I mean, these are the facts of the matter.
That is true.
When you've researched this as I have, you've gone into all of these details, of course.
Right.
So when you sit down in a skirt, it's much freer. You don't get that crotch making you crotchety.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. I tell you what, now you've made your case. We have about 500 people in our studio audience. I would be interested, just to either prove, it'll neither prove nor disprove. Let's do it by men and women. How many women would like to see men wear skirts who would feel comfortable and think it's a good idea? Just applaud. Just the women now. Okay.
It's a bit thin.
A little thin there. How many men would feel comfortable wearing this? Guy wearing the wedgies up there? Not many guys.
How about the whole trumpet section?
Right.
The entire trumpet section.
Now you see, not many guys.
But this is great because you see, I'm on the beginning of the market. I have the biggest potential market that you
really
could
do.
imagine because hardly any man in this country has a skirt, and I'm making them for sale. Don't you think that's a wonderful potential that I have ahead of me?
You may change the whole culture of this country.
That may happen.
David, it's nice to have you here tonight, really.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Good luck.
Thank you.
Ed, I want to say, Ed's going to go home. The pill is starting to wear off a little bit.
Just clicked in.
Why don't you go home and take it easy?
I'm going to wrap myself in something comfortable.
Yes, get in something comfortable. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Thank you, David. You can go with Ed. You stay here if you want to. Sure, stay here. Stay here. Might as well stay. Why don't you stay for a while? We'll be right back with Peter Strauss in just a moment. Well, you didn't win too many.
Hey, Frank, want to wager on the race? For a case of beer? Sure. What's your brand?
These boats will cover 200 miles before this wager's settled, but it's worth the wait, because it's for Michelob Light, that rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
You never beat us that bad before. We never raced for a whole case of Michelob Light before.
Michelob Light. Compare the taste.
When you care for your family, keeping the toilet bowl clean is important. So for me, there's no substitute for automatic Vanish. I trust it. I know Vanish has a tough detergent formula that works to prevent dirt and stains. Every flush releases a combination of hard-working detergents to fight dirt, stains, and deodorize, under the rim, everywhere. I know Vanish helps keep this bowl clean and fresh. For my family, I know it's clean when it's Vanish clean.
For the man who makes each day a whole new adventure, Pierre Cardin has created Pierre Cardin Man's Cologne. It's the fragrance the well-dressed man is wearing. Pierre Cardin Man's Cologne. Today's too important to wear anything else. The Travel Valet. Just $11.50 with any Pierre Cardin fragrance purchase. At Emporium Capwell.
Hey, what you doing?
Randy, these jeans are genuine.
Just can't go around branding strangers, cowboy.
I'm a Lee cowboy.
Well, this ain't your territory.
I'm rounding up everybody and branding them Lee.
Hey, she's pretty cute.
She's one of the good guys.
Lee Riders, get 'em at Mervyn.
My next guest, you all know. Peter Strauss. Peter Strauss is a fine actor and has done consistently high-caliber work in television, motion pictures. He just returned from a trip to Europe. Would you welcome Peter Strauss? Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
I got to ask your comments now. David makes a certain amount of sense here.
It makes some sense.
Yeah.
I have trouble debating which stockings to put as a dress. I've decided on a new fashion issue. I've decided to borrow jackets. That's my new thing.
Borrow jackets?
Yeah. Do you like this one?
Yes. Did you borrow that?
Yeah, from your closet.
You're kidding. No, you went in and...
This is your jacket. I forgot my jacket today.
Very handsome. Very handsome. I was just going to comment on you, how nice your jacket looked.
I wanted...
I have a jacket, too. I have a jacket.
There were two dresses there, and...
You see, you just...
I will be honest, I wanted to do it, but I didn't do it.
Yeah.
But if you're in Masada, we're
In Masada, I wore a skirt.
You look wonderful in that. I
Thank
remember.
you, thank you. No, and I do agree. No. In the desert heat...
You did look great.
Yeah, in the desert heat, you can sit, and you literally can vent yourself and stay very cool. It's true. Men have worn skirts in the past.
You just don't have enough, like I don't have enough courage.
Not yet, but if it became a vogue, I might try. I'm not ready for it yet.
So you were over in Germany.
I went to Europe again.
Yeah.
I feel like Larry Darrell on the Razor's Edge. I keep looking.
Was this a vacation?
I went to Germany to work to open a film, and I went to the south of France, which I'd never seen. Germany was a unique experience.
Never been there.
My entire family comes from Germany, and it was sort of a search for roots, and it was also a chance to visit a country which I find has always been a controversial country. I went to Berlin, which was probably one of the most startling experiences for me. I had never seen the wall.
Right.
And I'd never seen so much anti-Americanism, which was, for the first time I've traveled, and I've traveled a great deal, something that was really quite shocking. It's funny, we sit here and bemoan the problems of this country, and then the minute one goes overseas, becomes suddenly extraordinarily nationalistic.
I'll bet.
And the majority of the young people that I spoke to there are extremely angry at America, and to face that.
Do you get any particular reason, or is it just...
Well, they seem unhappy about the
way
fact
they perceive the whole country?
The missiles for NATO are sitting in their country, and their feeling is that if there was ever a major conflict in the world, Germany goes first. And that the United States and the Soviet Union will never really lose as much territory. And I told them that my assumption was that if Germany goes, we all go in a funny way. There's bound to be a residual effect in the air. And
if it gets to that point,
But there is an enormous amount of anger, and there is an attitude which in the 60s we heard a little bit of better red than dead. And as an American, when I stood on the platform overlooking the wall, I found that so extraordinarily difficult to comprehend, because it's almost as if the East Germans have very bad PR. One would assume that when you stand in a democratic nation,
West Germany,
which is beautiful parks, extraordinary new construction, most of Germany is brand new. I mean, it was literally bombed into oblivion, that the East Germans and the Soviet influence would create some sort of PR for themselves. But you stand there in a democracy, you overlook a nation that is, whether one wants to call it that or not, it is oppressed. And there are nothing but bleak, black factories and extraordinarily unhappy people standing there looking at you.
You think they'd put up at least for maybe 100 yards some kind of Hollywood set that look, you know, that the rest of it would be behind that.
Come on over. Join us. It's a wonderful place to be. Germany is such an extraordinary contrast. I took the train, which in Europe is a gift.
They run on time, don't they, in Europe?
Run on time. They're extraordinarily beautiful. The food is better than most good restaurants in America. I mean, they serve, if you order breakfast, for example, a fresh omelet is a fresh omelet. To go on an American train and order a fresh omelet, it will come wrapped in plastic and was made 3 days before. And you can go along the Rhine and see all the old German castles and your private cars, and it's a wonderful way to travel.
You must enjoy that.
I did.
How about the French? Completely?
The French are the French. They make fun of the Parisians in the south of France, and of course the Parisians assume that the people in the south of France are nothing but play girls, play boys, and culturally devoid of any real history of what France is about. But it is probably the most beautiful place I've ever been. I traveled from Cassis, where they make cassis for Kir, had a lot of Kir, and went into Marseille and Montpellier, and went up along the coast, went into Aix-en-Provence, and then went to Saint-Tropez, which was an extraordinary
Obviously
trip.
you speak French, but just from your pronunciation.
I speak French.
Yes.
And then went to Cannes, and Cap d'Antibes, and all the places there. And the people are charming, the food is extraordinary. It is a way of life that I think is appealing enough that I'm considering the possibility of moving.
You're kidding.
No. The French farms are beautiful, and there is a new law that you cannot take any old building in France and alter it on the outside. You can buy an old farm and totally redo the insides, but you cannot touch the outside. So the farms that are across the countryside are
remain as they were.
17th century and extraordinarily beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
One problem we have here, we make way for the modern very quickly.
Well, the difference between certainly New York, the rest of the country, and L.A., I mean, something old here is 1930s.
That's right. We forget when you talk about the 15th or 16th century, the 12th century.
I mean, to watch a sunset in France and sit in a town like Aix-en-Provence and see the old buildings in that wonderful pastel pink and orange color and the trees that have been there for centuries is something so different. And yet the French, especially in the south of France, find America, and especially Los Angeles, wonderful. They love the fact everything is brand new. They feel that people in Los Angeles have more individuality than anybody else in this country.
Yeah. There's that to be...
We are individual in that respect. I mean, there were not an enormous number of people in dresses in France, but they would respect the fact that you feel that's something you want to do and express your individuality that way. It's something unique and something they consider very American, though you're not American, are you? South African originally. I am not American now.
Oh,
well, that's something they would find very...
I would avoid Brooklyn on Saturday night. Maybe Friday night.
Friday's okay.
Friday you might get away with, but...
Did you visit Port Ambon, the nudist beach?
No.
No. In France, everybody's nude.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it was a startling thing to walk along the beaches of Saint-Tropez and Cannes and realize that 99% of the women and children are nude. It's something for 1 minute that you take time to observe.
And then suddenly it's too much. And it becomes something that's very commonplace and acceptable. I mean, the French are fiendish, especially the women in France, about tans.
Right.
And it's a science there, and women are bare-breasted.
As you say, after the initial period of, oh my God, look at this.
It's gone. It's wonderful, though. If you don't let it go right away, it's wonderful.
Well.
I mean, they are very beautiful women.
And the memory, you've always had the memory.
The memory is indelible.
Good memory will
indelible.
Do it. We have to pause. We shall return.
Some eyewitness views of Permalens extended wear lenses.
You don't need glasses. It's freedom.
My eye doctor recommended Permalens, and I love them.
Oh, they're fantastic. It's like they're not even there.
Permalens has already helped 1 million eyes see beautifully. You wear them every waking and sleeping moment. In fact, you only remove them once every 2 weeks just to clean them. Many doctors offer trial fittings. Ask your eye doctor.
For the first time, I can get out of bed in the morning and see past my bed covers.
First there were eyeglasses, then came contact lenses. Now there's Permalens.
Kathleen, do you like Oscar Mayer roasted hot dogs?
Sure.
Do you like cheese?
Yes.
Then you'll love this new Oscar Mayer cheese hot dog.
Where's the cheese?
It's inside. Take a bite. Oscar Mayer takes chunks of real American cheese and roasts it right in with the meat for a special cheese dog taste. Now, Kathleen, where's the cheese?
Inside, Tommy.
New Oscar Mayer cheese hot dogs. They roast the cheese inside.
Count on PSA for 4 new nonstop flights daily and 3 on Saturdays from San Francisco to Seattle. 1 new low fare, just $100 round trip. Every seat, every flight. Travel must be completed by June 30th. Catch one of PSA's new Seattle nonstops for just $100 round trip.
Catch our smile, super smile, PSA.
In France, where the only thing they love as much as love is champagne, the champagne they love best is Moet. Moet, France's best-loved champagne.
My next guest is a good friend. Buddy opens at the Claridge Hotel in Atlantic City on June 11th and will be honored with a tribute at Carnegie Hall on June 27th. Would you welcome Mr. Humility, Buddy Rich. Nice. Yeah, go over there. Mr. Drums. Yes, folks, it's Traps the Boy Wonder. Ha! It just doesn't get easier, does it? Sure. Had to wear a heavy wool sweater, right? Good thinking. Man wears a heavy wool sweater, 80 degrees in the...
I wasn't ready for that.
You've been out in the sun, too, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been home.
Huh?
Vacation. This is my first night back. 10 days.
You're looking great.
Why?
Why did I do that?
I got the job. I got my own band.
Oh, we'll take a station break. That's right. You don't need this. We'll be right back. See where you are. Pull yourself together.
Want to cook up a little excitement this summer?
Brush up on the chicken.
A barbecue breakthrough. Just blend 2 parts Heinz 57 sauce with 1 part honey.
Brush up, taste the stew.
First baste chicken with butter. Then brush on the Heinz 57 sauce and honey.
Brush up on your ribs.
Stupendous ribs.
Where do you try the chicken, Dad? Brush up a lively barbecue.
Next cookout, brush up with Heinz 57 sauce and honey.
Brush up.
This is one of France's great treasures, the famed 3-star restaurant G&G Boyer. Its owner is Gerard Boyer, the renowned chef and wine connoisseur. Recently, he tasted Taylor California Cellar's Chardonnay.
I found Taylor California Cellar Chardonnay to be dry, well-balanced, perfect for the kind of food I serve in my restaurant. In fact, this Chardonnay is so good that I wish it were available in France.
Taylor California Cellars, a better Chardonnay. Judge for yourself.
Show continues. When you're serious about sports, you need to know who won, and you want to see how they did it. Join Bill Orwig for Sports Finals, Sunday night at 11:25.
Get new improved Black Flag Roach Motel with more power to attract and kill more roaches. No poison, no insecticide odor. Now more roaches check in, but they don't check out.
Roaches back already?
These aerosols don't last. Maybe we should call the exterminator.
Let's use Dexichlor Pest Control. It's water-based, and it won't stain like these oil-based products.
Professional strength Dexichlor kills roaches and ants that invade your home. Spiders and other pests can't escape. Do it yourself with this easy-to-use trigger spray.
We use Dexichlor instead of an exterminator.
Yes, honey, and we saved money, too.
Dexichlor Pest Control from the Dexol family of fine products since 1911.
The network people want a meeting in New York. Book me on Eastern's Transcon.
Eastern's Transcon. It elevates cross-country travel to a higher plane.
Okay, we're back. Oh, sure you were.
Yes, I was.
All right, look. I know it's difficult for you to even take a compliment, so I won't do any more compliments. We've known each other too long, and you always dig your toe in the carpet and go, shucks. Tell me about the tribute at Carnegie Hall, June 27th.
I'm very surprised.
Now, that's...
I was called about 6 months ago by George Wein.
Sure.
They produced the Cool Jazz Festival. It used to be the Newport Jazz Festival.
Right.
And they said they wanted to do a tribute to Buddy Rich and the band. And I didn't know exactly what a tribute meant. You know, what is that? So we're going to have a whole bunch of people come down and people
say nice
work
things
with
about you.
And play.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it. I'm a little embarrassed by it, but
You'll get over it.
It's going to be nice, I think.
You'll get over it.
Yeah.
Are you going to be humble and self-effacing and...
I'm going to be just as cute as I am.
You're going to ruin another evening, huh?
Yeah, I really don't know how to handle this. You know, somebody's going to have to say, that was really swell.
Who's shown up? Well, you've worked
They
with
didn't tell me everybody,
You've worked with
but I know
everybody
that
in the business
the
one
great,
time or
the
another.
great Dizzy Gillespie will be there. I'm very excited about that. And Zoot Sims.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of people. I don't have the exact full cast, but
Sounds
there's
great.
some great people, and I'm really excited.
June
27th on a Sunday.
I may be in New York then.
Oh, God.
What does that mean? Is that...
That means that if you're in New York and I find out about it, you'll be there that night.
Sure.
Oh.
I always, wherever you're playing, do I not show up?
As long as it's a preview, you're there.
Inside every great man is a cheap shot artist. I will be there, though. What are the prices?
I see. I think you have to wear a skirt to get in. That's all I know.
Now, you would wear a skirt, wouldn't you? You have enough confidence to wear a...
2 years ago,
black belt in karate? You
2
could
years
wear
ago.
one.
2 years ago, we were in Glasgow.
Right.
And the people came backstage and asked me if I'd wear a kilt for the first half of the show, which I did. And it's the coolest I've ever been behind a set of drums.
Well,
right through there, that's a nice fresh
And with that right foot pumping away, I mean, with that beater, you put a fan on that beater.
It's a good thing it's a small beater.
Do we have to say goodnight? Or are we coming back? We have to say goodnight. You're going to be at the Claridge in Atlantic City on June 11th?
On Thursday night, we're doing a concert at Berkeley School in Boston.
Berkeley in
Louis
Boston?
Nelson and his band.
With Louis?
Yeah.
In Berkeley and Boston. Great. Peter, thank you. David, thank you very much. Tomorrow night, Dionne Warwick, George Miller, and Cassandra Peterson, Elvira. We'll be back.
Tom Brokaw talks with Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher tomorrow morning on Today.
Thursday, fame will dazzle your eyes. Fame will touch your heart. Then Arnold's Hots for a Pretty Girl gets cooled off by her boyfriend. And on Gimme a Break, the joke's on Nell when the chief's brother comes for a summer visit. Then, stop this criminal act! Captain Freedom is ambushed on Hill Street Blues. Thursday.
How do you turn on your tiger? Turn on the juice. Turn on the juice with new Chef's Blend. Because now Chef's Blend dry cat food gets its taste from real beef, turkey, liver, and chicken juices. And real meat taste is what turns on a cat. How do you turn on your Siamese? Turn on your calico? Turn on the juice. 100% nutritionally complete new Chef's Blend. Gets its taste from real meat juices. Turn on the juice with new Chef's Blend.
The end of a dumb phone.
And a dumb phone cord keeps you tied down.
The start of a smartphone.
Phone mate.
Wrong phone.
Follows you around, yeah.
No more cord to tie you down.
Phone mate, wrong phone follows you around. Make a call anywhere. Over here.
Over there.
Phone mate.
Wrong phone.
Follows you there. Screens a call.
Takes a message.
Wrong phone.
Read it
apart, yeah. Goodbye, dumb phone. Hello, phone mate.
We're talking smiles.
In Bavaria, where once they built legends of stone, today